Sometimes when people hear that I move characters with my hands, they assume that I have my hands all in the scene, and then I'd use some kind of special software to delete my hands, to erase them. But quite honestly, there is no way to do that. I've tried. So over the last 10 years, I've been trying to figure out the best method for making brick films. And initially, I did try to, move the characters and then use software to paint out my hands. But it's not possible. But it's not really possible. So instead of doing that, what I do is I will move the characters with the tips of my fingers. So for example, if you can see the character here on the table, I'm using just the tip of my finger and, tips of 2 fingers, and I'm moving him. See, he's rotating, he can look up, he can look down, he can quickly, look at another character, and all I'm using is just the tips of my fingers. So you might wonder, okay, what does that mean then? How I could still see your hands in the shot. Yes, but when I film, I make sure that the character movement shots are zoomed in enough that you can't see my fingers. So, for example, this is a shot from the Last Supper scene in the Messiah, a brick film. In the final cut of the film, I do some digital cropping, which means I enlarge the video a little bit so you don't see my fingers. Another option for covering up my fingers would have been to put widescreen bars. So that's what I would teach you to do. If you're moving the character, frame your shot, zoom in with your camera lens and carefully frame that shot so that you don't see your fingers. So for example, if I was taking a shot here, I would set up my camera, I would zoom the lens in, and then I would carefully move the character in the way that I need to. It is as simple as that. The only downside to this method is that for wide shots, if I have a really zoomed out shot, I can't move the character. I can't, because then I would see my hands. However, there are other methods of adding movement to your scene, and that's why we included the second type of movement, which is camera movement. So when you can't directly move a character, you can use the camera as a character to give the illusion of character movement. And this actually works. I've had so many people watch my movies and say, Josh, this is some of the best stop motion animation that we've ever seen. This is such good stop motion, when there actually is no stop motion. And if you pay attention to my movies, you'll notice that in every shot, either the character is moving or the camera is moving.
Hey you, get out of here. You've done your job.
Sometimes I'll be holding the camera with one hand, propped up on something like the beanbag or towel like we talked about. I'll have it propped up, and then as I'm moving the character, I will be also moving the camera. That took me a really long time, like years and years of practice to be able to master that. So at the beginning, I would just recommend to you, think through with every shot, is this a shot where I'll have the character move or a shot where I will have the camera move? So in terms of camera movement, there are 4 main types of camera moves that you can use in your brick films. And these are ones that I use all the time. And when I was writing this course, I watched, so many scenes of my movies and just thought through, okay, what are the shots I'm using over and over and over again? And I found that all of them can easily be categorized into 4 main camera movements. So let's talk about those 4 movements, how you can use those in your scene, and then how you can combine that with the camera movement shots to be able to create a dynamic sense of movement within your scenes without using stop motion, because nobody wants to do stop motion because it limits us in so many ways. Let's talk about that.